Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm glad you all could join and I hope you find today's topic and information helpful. My name is Greg Schmidt and I'll be the presenter for today's webinar. And today's topic is 5 business efficiency goals you can achieve with a document management solution. And discover ways your organization can get more out of a document management solution. An efficient document management process is no longer a luxury for most organizations today. It's more of a necessity. If you're just curious or even just unsure of if you need a new strategy around centralized document management, stick around and today you'll learn, some of the different goals that you can achieve with inside of your organization to be able to bring, some of those efficiencies back to your employees. Here's just a quick look at the agenda. We're going to look at some of the leading trends in the industry really quick, so you can sort of see where we're heading for today's standpoint. And so most of the trends actually work into today's conversation. Then we're going to hit the 5 business efficiency goals you can achieve with a document management solution within your organization. And then we'll see how much time we get here from a live demonstration standpoint, but I at least want to go through some of the interface of our web doc system, from that standpoint, so you can sort of see some of the interface structures and stuff like that, and workflows and things like that that you can do inside of a document management system. And then if time permits at the end, we'll take some questions as well, but still feel free to enter your questions into the chat window. And I will, if I have time, like I said, I'll address those towards the end, or if not, I will respond to those after the webinar. So feel free to enter those in. And today's event is also being recorded, and you will receive a link after the webinar to share with anyone in your organization that could not attend today's session, or if you'd like to rewatch this webinar as well. Again, my name is Greg Schmidt. I'm a senior solutions engineer here at Fortra with over 24 years of industry experience. My areas of expertise are document and forms automation, accounts payable and accounts receivable automation, intelligent document capture and OCR, robotic process automation technology, and business intelligence. I also have over 2 decades worth of experience in the IBM report and data distribution area. Over the years, I've been key in helping companies automate their document and data processes, in turn, helping them streamline the business processes with technology and strategic planning for digital transformation of data, documents, and business workflows. One of the other things I'm very passionate about as well is helping guide companies in best practices for implementation and solution expansion within organizations to bring as many efficiencies with the solution as you can, inside of your organization. I think that's one of the keys here today that we'll be talking about is sort of that land and expand opportunity within your different organizations. We have been helping companies for decades now on their digital transformation and automation journeys, right? Our mission is truly to help companies bring efficiencies to their business processes by streamlining the way companies create, capture, and securely manage and distribute their business documents, control the processes, and also the business data itself. And we'll talk a little bit more about this as well as we go through here today, and just of the different areas, right? Like the document workflow automation, the forms automation capability, the document creation automation, and the accounts payable automation capabilities with inside of our solution. Looking at the trends here, here's sort of that list of trends, right? Not in any certain order from importance or not, left to right or anything, but just all the different things people are looking at, for the last, for 2022, 2023, and into 2024. These are still holding true today, from that standpoint. But some of the biggest ones that we really look at, and we'll talk about today, and they're part of the solution, right, that we're talking about, is intelligent OCR and classification capabilities, right? Disaster recovery and high availability capabilities, right? So getting rid of your paper, documents and being able to, in this case, like centralize those documents, right? And make them, more disaster recoverable at that point as well. But that's another big one, is the centralized document management, and we'll cover that here in just a second here a little bit more, to go a little bit more in depth, and we'll also cover workflow process enforcement. Being able to take those documents, since they are centrally stored, and put those into workflows and enforce those different processes. And departmental process automation. So we'll talk about those here today as well, and talk about AP automation and accounts receivable automation capabilities. So these are just some of the trends that are coming out there from that standpoint. But just to recap, the leading trends that we're seeing, from that standpoint, is centralized, secure document repositories, right? Being able to protect your documents and give security access to them by different departments, different groups, different users inside the organization, and then also put those document-centric reviews and approval processes on them. And those can happen in many different areas of the business, as we'll talk about today as well. Questions you need to be asking yourself to see if you're getting, the highest, business efficiency within your document process, right? Is your employee productivity, is that affecting the time spent on searching documents? So how long is that taking for them to get to those documents, right? Is your organization exposed to, audit and security risk because the documents are not locked down and secured, for different users to access? Are they in a filing cabinet? Are they just in a network location? Do they need to have version audit control with those different kinds of capabilities around them? Do you struggle with the hampered approval processes, right? Do you have any enforceable business processes that you're doing today that you can actually prove out from that standpoint, and who signed stuff or who approved things when, and if they made any changes or anything like that? Are the document, and I think here's the biggest one that we'll talk about a little bit more here as we go through. Are the documents in your organization stored in 2 or more locations? It's content in the wild, I always talk about, right? You got network directories, you got file storage all over the place, but are there multiple locations people are going to for those documents? And again, here's those top 5 that we're going to sort of walk through here, so you can sort of see, and we'll cover this as sort of a general session here today. But if anybody would like to go through any of these sections in more detail, feel free to reach out to us at any time, and we can go into each of these different ones in a little bit more detail on how we accomplish that here from the Fortra side. A little bit about so the first one that we'll talk about is general document storage and workflow capabilities, right? So centralized, secure document repositories. So being able to create these, secure repositories and one location, right, for be able to access them, right? So you're eliminating, the unmanaged network content, right? You're creating searchable repositories on the network, right, that might be integrated or not integrated into your business systems, right? So you can integrate things into your business systems using, our different APIs and REST APIs that we have integration capability to, but we can integrate into those documents or into those document repositories. Have you integrate into our document repositories through our integration capabilities, right? And if your ERP system has already a workflow management capability, we can actually put links into that system so they can route those around. Or if not, we do have a workflow system built into our system to be able to process those as well. So there's different ways you can get the more value out of a document management system. It's not just saying, hey, I'm going to centralize all the documents there, but you want to be able to create an integrated feel for users as well. So I think that is key to conversations, is integrating those different methods inside of there. And like I was talking about, silos of content in your network, right? Removing, email and fax locations, right? At that point, ERP capability, you can see the attachments and stuff like that. Instead of storing them in the ERP system where only certain people might have access to them, or it's hard to give access to them, we can do that through our system and then connect it back into the ERP system. Network folders, being able to monitor network folders and keep that content inside the system and not have it sprawling across the network, right? Laptops and computers, those are a big one too, keeping everything on the desktop and things like that. IBMI systems, Windows reports, having those different pieces of content in those different locations, right? So if it's sitting in an IFS directory or on a network server or SAN server somewhere where they get generated today, having users go out to user folders, it's better to go out to a process or into the web doc system or a general document management system where you can push those documents to and search by keys and indexes and stuff like that. And we'll go through some of that in the live demonstration as well, so you can sort of see some of those different concepts around that. And a big one is filing cabinets. Taking the information that are in filing cabinets and making those, in some cases, digital, right? That helps with disaster recovery, accessibility to documents, right? Being able to remove some of those, paper-based documents and put them into the system, so someone doesn't have to, come into the office for them. They can actually just search at their fingertips through a web browser. And again, a best practice to this is centralizing that document management, capabilities, right? Being able to have those different components inside the solution, not just the core document management function and workflow automation, but also the capture capabilities. Being able to, have different user methods to be able to capture those documents into the system, through drop and drag, print functions, Microsoft Word, scanning capabilities, and then at the back end, be able to collaborate with those documents, on more of a workflow functionality, and even, security in mind, security first, right? Kind of process, and having version, audit control, retention policies, and things like that you can do. And then again, like I was talking about earlier, but integrating that into your business system, right? For the users that you want to have a very seamless interaction with the documents, they don't always have to, come to an interface to be able to access those documents. They can still access them through the ERP system or through, a financial system or whatever the business system is. And another one here, number 2, is accounts payable. So once you have the core solution in, you can come into the system to be able to use it for different things, right? And one of the point solutions a lot of organizations buy our solution for is accounts payable automation. So being able to, use intelligent capture in some cases, right? So there's add-on modules that you can use to enhance, the core solution, right? Like if you want to bring automation into the mix, you can use intelligent automation or intelligent capture to enable automatic invoice intake, right? Remove data, manual data entry, reduce the errors and save time from a user standpoint, so you can have them focus on what their job is, not on data entry and capturing invoices and capturing documents into the system. To be able to configure to business rules inside your organization, if that's a workflow or if that's in some cases, if that's like a matching process or something like that, right? And then being able to have the flexibility and be ERP agnostic, right? I think that is key, and making sure that whatever system it is out there, right, that you have that ERP agnostic and flexibility of integration. If it's a cloud-based system, if it's a LAN-based system, an on-prem kind of system, or a hybrid, or legacy even, right? Have those different methods to be able to do that from that standpoint. But a big one here is centralized secure repository again, right? It's enforcing security policies, workflows, audit, version control, approvals, but bring all those efficiencies back to the business departments in this case, right? And this one is accounts payable. Again, you can create, with a PO process. If you don't have it, you can capture, we can transform, verify, approve, and export and utilize, right? Those are the 7 different stages in our AP automation journey that we have here at Fortra on the web docs document management side. But these are the ways that we use our system, along with some of the capture capabilities and forms capabilities, to be able to enhance that full life cycle of the document in the process. And that looks like this from that standpoint. And again, we can cover this in more detail if you want from an accounts payable demonstration at some point. But here's sort of just a high level look of the Fortra web docs accounts payable, the Fortra version here of accounts payable automation. And then we also do have a guide out there as well for accounts payable automation, a very helpful guide. I think it's about 46 pages if I'm not mistaken, but it has 3 different sections in it that is very helpful, inside of there because everybody's at different levels of journeys, I'll call them, inside of their automation journeys and document management uses. The third one here is accounts receivable. And this one is really covering around some different areas, right? So being able to, in some cases, be able to have the capability to, in this case here, intelligent, web-based forms, right? Be able to have an order process, right? We have that capability with our forms technology. Again, we can use our intelligent capture to do order capture, automated order capture and data extraction, right? We can put into approval workflows or review workflows. We can do document creation processes with our creation software. We can do delivery. So if you need to deliver orders, deliver invoices, so from the accounts receivable standpoint, we can do all the AR processing and then securely manage all those documents and content inside of the WebDoc system so they're all available at your fingertips. And then the fourth one here is human resources. Sometimes human resources doesn't get enough love, right? They have a very, very paper intensive process with compliance and regulatory, and a lot of security that needs to happen inside of the process, right? Sometimes they don't get enough love from the standpoint of what is needed to help them do their business, right? From that standpoint, and stay compliant. So being able to have a solution that you can configure and help just store the documents is huge in some cases, right? Be able to say, hey, in the case of human resources, we're going to have a human resources folder, but we have to, for compliance reasons, we have to store different kinds of documents for different levels of access inside of there. So being able to, it's more of a configuration setup thing, right? From a best practice is to configure the system to start storing the documents in the correct fashion inside of the system. It's not always about, just capturing everything into the system. It's putting them into the right areas so that they're accessible by who needs them from that standpoint. And in some cases, it might be a compliance and regulatory thing as well, that you don't want to keep like the I-9 documents in the same folder as employee personnel documents, right? Because if you give auditor access to something, you just want them to have I-9 document access or a certain kind of document type access. So you can do different kinds of storage capabilities with that there as well. We do have a form solution as well. So if you really want to remove a lot of the paper intense processes, we do have the capability around giving data collection processes, right? Being able to create forms that might fill in back-end forms. So having a web-based form that someone might fill out at home or on an iPad or something, a kiosk or something like that, and that they can fill in, and then that data gets processed and creates documents and puts them into the system and delivers them. So it's really cool from that standpoint, like an onboarding process. Like a lot of times we'll have an onboarding form that might create an I-9 and a W-4 on the back end, the legal document from that standpoint. So we can actually fill in those fillable PDFs from the government. And then the last one here is a lot of times overlooked as well, is just the simple capabilities to, capture reports or capture spool files and convert them into a format that is usable and deliver them to users, right? And make the user more self-sufficient at that point. Send out notifications if you want, but securely manage all the IBMI spool files and ERP documents that might get ERP reports that might get created. So that's a big one, is centralizing the storage for your organization. So if someone's coming in for certain kinds of documents, sales reports or executive summaries or something like that, right? All of them are stored in one location, one source of truth, right? At that point. So if you centralize all those documents in one spot, everyone has capabilities to be able to do that. And with our solution and thought process into this, our conversion processes and stuff like that, we can, so with the WebDoc solution that I'm going to be talking a little bit more about here, we have monitors that can monitor the IBMI system or Windows directories or servers to be able to process those on. So you can give on-demand access to reports to users and stuff like that within your organization. All right, a little bit about the WebDoc solution here. So the WebDoc solution is fully rounded out through this, through the circle here, right? We have, fully automated document capture, right? That removes the data entry and the manual processes through the intelligent capture side of things. We have semi-automated capture capabilities and interactive user capture capabilities. And we also can use some of our sister brands capabilities with robotic process automation. So we can use RPA technology to be able to script or streamline some of those different processes and orchestrate different kinds of capture capabilities, mean like email capture and things like that we can do from that standpoint. We have our system generated content capture monitors, right? So part of the WebDoc system is what we call the Deliver Now system. The Deliver Now system gives us the capability to manage and orchestrate the capture of reports from a directory or spool file conversion, document creation capability, and capture those into the system as well. Workflow and routing, so enforcing business processes and notifications, right? So being able to enforce any business process and then also send out notifications and approvals inside of there as well. And then mobility and workflow access, right? So being able to access those documents anywhere at any time you need to. So from a web browser or through the interface is smart enough in our case to be able to detect what device you're coming from. So it will automatic redirects to a mobile site. But the user doesn't have to, interact with anything from the standpoint besides a web browser. So you can actually, on a mobile app or whatever, you can create a shortcut to it if you want, and then access it that way. So many different ways you can do that. And here's just a look. I just want to sort of bring this up from that standpoint to sort of show you the capabilities around, inside of our solution. There's many different things that we just talked about in the last slide, but there's other things that we can do as well. Like I was talking about the advanced or the intelligent capture capability, robotic process automation capabilities. We can work with our Go Anywhere MFT, managed file transfer solution. There's a plugin inside of there to be able to integrate into your WebDoc system. We have our iForms document creation software that actually integrates directly into our system as well. Spool file management, like I was talking about, our forms management solution, that's an add-on module over the top of the WebDoc system that allows you to create those business forms and data entry, streamline that data entry process, and then do document creation on the back end. And then all of the tools that are part of the application, like the scan and barcode automation, that's a core WebDocs feature that you get. And interactive tools, which I think is very key to any kind of business process, is giving users the capability to be able to securely, ingest documents into the system between, through Microsoft Office add-ins, meaning Word, Excel, and Outlook, or drag and drop or scan documents in, upload through the browser, or file print from any application you can print from. So you can hit file print or screen capture something and print directly into the WebDoc system. And then I think one of the other, very important pieces that I was talking about in the beginning is the integration to ERP systems, right? Having the capability through our REST APIs and different kinds of integration to be able to integrate into the different screens or background processes through either the APIs or client proxies to be able to, configure those different integrations to your business systems. And these are just some of them, right? Or I should say the majority of them that we use. Now, there's other solutions that we can work with as well, but these are just the core ones that we really, work with a lot from our standpoint. Here's just some of those different, I'll call it the essential pieces to the system, right? Being able to capture an index and do that in an interactive or automated fashion, right? Browser-based controls, document security, anywhere access, workflow and notification and collaboration capabilities, and then version audit control and document retention. I think that's really cool. Really a configurable thing inside of our solution. It's really cool. That gives you the capability to not only audit version control things, but also set retention policies up on things so that if it's a compliancy thing, sometimes holding on to too much stuff makes you not compliant, right? So being able to set up retention policies inside the solution is key as well to be able to get rid of things in a timely fashion. And then annotations and integration capability. Being able to, annotate and work with documents, but then also integrate into the business systems on the back end. All right, here I'm just going to spend a few minutes on the WebDoc system itself, so you can sort of see the some of the functionality here, but from an interface standpoint. But WebDocs is a web browser-based application. It is a cloud-enabled solution that gives you the capability to run this in your own cloud environment or your own on-prem environment, meaning on a physical server or in a VMware environment. It is a web-based application that users can access through the web browser, and administration is done through the web interface as well. So you can actually log into the interface. You can log in and access the documents or workflows inside the system. So if the documents are part of a workflow function, you have your own inbox where you can access and approve and review things inside of here. And then also from an administrative standpoint, there's workflows that you can trigger off inside of there during a capture process, or as the documents are inside the system, they can be triggered into a workflow as well. We do offer unlimited workflow capability, so you can create all different kinds of configurable workflows inside the solution. But that is, I'll call it one user option, right? That you have is to be able to log in and access an inbox or a shared inbox where you might have more of a queue where multiple people might have access to. A lot of times accounts payable or an indexing queue, even HR onboarding might be a queue kind of a structure, but you can have different kinds of structures there. Now, one of the biggest things people come to the WebDoc system for is to get to content, right? I need to find something and I need to find what I have access to, or find a set of documents inside the system. So now with the WebDoc side of things, I don't have to go into a folder to search for things. I can search for key values that might have been indexed values during the time of capture, or it might be content on the document. So we can do full text indexing as well. So either or from an option standpoint. We can do folder search, document type searches. We can do different kinds of criteria searches inside of here. But it's about finding the documents fast and having access to them, right? And then being able to work with those documents if they're part of a workflow or if they're part of the system here. And I need to be able to maybe put notes on it. I can add a secure note to it, either by department. Or group in this case. I can set up those inside of here. Or maybe I want to be able to add an annotation on something and put, maybe I want to put a note on here and just say test note for this case. Maybe I want to put this note on here and I want this to be accessible to anyone that views this document. So I'm just going to throw a sticky note on there, right? So we can do different kinds of notes like that on side of here. But again, all security controlled inside of our system, right? So all these different functions here are security controls inside of the system. Annotations, redaction. We have signature capabilities as well. We have capability around, I'm going to show this other report here too, so you can sort of see this. But we have the capability inside of here. So say this was a report here, and I want to be able to dig into it a little bit deeper. You can see we got signature here, right? So I can add signatures and different things here. But say that I wanted to be able to, dig into the content a little bit more, or see the different pages and reorder or do something here. But in this case here, I want to be able to search for, let's just do RAL in this case, right? Search for RAL across the entire document. Now I can find all instances of that across the document. So it allows you to interrogate the individual documents deeper if you need to. Find your documents fast, but then dig into that content a little bit deeper as needed, right? So you have all those different functions. And then one last thing I want to show here too is, the configurability of the solution, right? Being able to securely manage the documents for all the business, right? So accounts receivable, accounts payable might have different folders. I'm an administrator, so you can see all the different folders here. But if I didn't have access to one of these groups or one of these folders, I wouldn't see it inside here, right? So like in the case that I was talking about HR, right? Being able to separate their documents out. So different levels of users might have to have access to different document types or different documents in the folders. You can do that. So very configurable. And then we have, configurable permissions capability inside here. So we can configure down to the permissions inside of here to say, hey, who has permissions inside of here, at a point and click basis, right? And then document types are configurable as well and enforceable. So we can say, are they required? What kind of data can we select inside of here? How long's our retention policies on certain document types? So we do have that capability inside the solution to be able to configure, as time goes on or in the beginning of the process. So very, very powerful solution from that standpoint to be able to, land. I call it, like I was talking about earlier, land and expand. Land in one area of the business, may say it's accounts payable, and then, or maybe it's in contracts or in HR, different parts of the business. You might want to be able to do that sort of a point solution, and then expand the solution throughout the organization. That's very, very common for our organizations today that we work with. And we are over time right now, but I am just going to take a couple questions here. I'm definitely not going to get to all of them, but I'm going to take a couple of them. And a couple of these, this one I did answer already. You probably think you asked this one in the beginning. Does WebDocs have ways to integrate into cloud-hosted ERP solutions? The answer is yes. We do have some business partners that we're working with today that are cloud-hosted solutions that use our WebDocs system in the background, but we do have secure RESTful APIs that you can actually use to be able to do that integration for document searching, document ingestion, and workflow processes as well. Let's see here. I'll take just a couple more. Is there someone asked about getting started. Is there ways to get started? Yes, we do have different packages. We just don't leave you out there on your own, right? We do have getting started packages that that we guide you with best practices and setup and configuration that you work with our implementation and consultants on from that standpoint, and also me as well. So you can always come back to me and your sales rep to be able to say, hey, we did this process with accounts payable. I want to go to accounts receivable, or I want to do HR. What does that look like, right? So we can sort of give you those different kinds of scenarios and help you, through those different journeys there. And then I answered this one already too. From that standpoint, but I'm just going to reiterate this one, is, what ways can the solution be deployed, right? So it is a web-based solution that is an on-prem solution or a cloud-enabled solution, meaning that you can run it in an AWS or Microsoft Azure, instance, or your cloud capabilities are. You can run it on virtual machines. You can run it on physical hardware. From that standpoint, it really doesn't make a difference. But it is an on-prem license that you can deploy in those different fashions. And yes, so someone asked about the different modules outside for the capture, for the advanced cat or intelligent capture. That is an extra component along with the forms management solution. That is an extra component that we actually put in there to help with, I'll call it, levels of automation to give you more automation capabilities inside of there. Does everybody need that level of automation? No, they don't. You can still do AP automation without the intelligent capture. You're just going to have more interaction with the documents than what a lot of people want to do in the first place, right? They want to be able to remove that interaction and do the data extraction capability. But we still do have companies that use our solution outside of the intelligent capture for AP automation. All right, there's still some great questions out there. I will get back to you with the other questions and stuff like that after the webinar. So I will follow up with everyone that has them submitted. I just want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar, and I hope you've have discovered ways your organization can get more out of your document management solution and increase automation and also employee morale throughout your organization by bringing in some of these centralized repositories and workflow capabilities. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to myself or your sales representative here from the Document and Forms Automation sales team, and we'll be happy to schedule a free consultation or a more in-depth live one-on-one demo to address any of your questions in these 5 different areas that we talked about today, or if you even have a different scenario that you want to bring up. And remember, you will receive a link to this webinar that you can share with anyone in your organization that might not have been able to attend, or for you to rewatch for your reference. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your week and day. And one last thing to remember is document security and automation is a journey. It's not a destination.